I'm sure I'll point this out a couple of times, but it's worth noting that had Mexico defeated Texas in the Texas Revolution, slavery would have ended in Texas. So Santa Anna, who's often seen as quite evil, uh, would have would have ironically been a hero in a very, very important respect if he had defeated the Texas revolutionaries, because he would have ended slavery in um, in Mexican Texas. So from the point of view of slaves, from the point of view of abolitionists, those that hate slavery and want to see it end, you're rooting for Santa Anna, actually. And it's so rare that we look at the Texas Revolution from that point of view. Okay, so what's going on now in Texas? So what's going on in Texas is you've got a group of Anglos who've come into Texas who are radicalized against Mexico. And the most significant of these figures is William Barrett Travis. In chapter 5 of the Forget the Alamo book talks a lot about Travis. It's not a very complimentary picture of him in the book, but it is based on historical evidence. Um, so Travis comes in, he actually comes into Texas, Mexican Texas illegally, because he comes into Texas after the law of April 6th, 1830 had been passed. Travis has a very, very checkered personal life. There's a lot of evidence that he had murdered his wife's lover. She was pregnant when his wife, when he came to Texas. As you'll see in chapter 5, a very, very checkered personal history by the time Travis comes into Texas. So he comes into Texas illegally. He settles in a little town named called Anahuac. And if you're from Houston, Anahuac, or even if you're not, what you do is you go east on I-10, like you're going to Beaumont or Louisiana. And Anahuac's on the coast. And it's where one of the Austin settlements was. It was one of the ports where cotton was leaving Texas. Cotton from the interior would go through places like Anahuac to go into the Gulf of Mexico and usually to go to New Orleans. So he comes in where William Barrett Travis comes in, and he has nothing but contempt for Mexico, nothing but contempt for Mexicans, doesn't even pretend. I mean, he's come into Texas as a documented undocumented immigrant anyway. And he leads a party of what's called the War Dogs. So what you have in Texas is you've got kind of a radicalized faction of Anglo-Texans, many of whom have arrived in Texas after 1830, who were pushing for war with Mexico, who embrace a war with Mexico, who want to secede from Mexico and to create an independent Texas Republic. Now, the vast majority of Anglo-Texans are not there yet. They're not ready for war. War is no fun. It's nothing romantic about it. It's scary. People have come into Texas. Most males have come in with their families, with their children. I mean, really, who wants war? So Travis, though, is part of a faction that is agitating for a war with Mexico and agitating for the creation of an independent Texas Republic. So what Travis does is he and a group of his followers, they capture Anahuac now has become a customs port. One of the things the Mexican government tried to do in the law of April 6th, 1830, is they started creating customs forts at the places where rivers flowed into the Gulf of Mexico, the Colorado River, the Trinity River, the Brazos River. And they established custom ports there because that's how cotton is getting out of Texas and how goods are getting into Texas. So the Mexican government's trying to grab a piece of the profit from the cotton trade by establishing customs forts, by taxing the cotton that's going in and out of Texas. And of course, the Texans don't like this because they had not been taxed before, and no one likes to be taxed. And this kind of is an echo or a reminder of the American Revolution. So what Travis does in Anahuac he captures briefly anyway the customs fort at Anahuac. And there's a standoff between his war dogs in the Mexican army, and ultimately Travis withdraws from the fort. But the capture of Anahuac sends a signal to Santa Anna, and this all happens in 1835. This all happens about the time that Santa Anna has come into power, that he's become a dictator in Mexico. There's a lot of unrest in Mexico, and as Santa Anna he has to deal with a lot of this, but suddenly now he has to deal with unrest in Mexican Texas. And so what he does is uh, Santa Anna decides that he's priority number one for him is, well, there's two priorities. There's a revolt in Zacatecas, which Santa Anna in 1835 crushes ruthlessly. He goes into Zacatecas. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's a beautiful, beautiful old Mexican city. It's just gorgeous. I highly recommend you visit there if you can. He goes into Zacatecas. They're mad about him becoming a dictator, and he crushes the Federalist revolt in Zacatecas, which sends a signal to the Texans. Well, this is what he will do to us if he can. And then once he secures Zacatecas and he hears about what Travis has done at Anahuac, he decides that he needs to invade Texas, that he needs to go into Texas with an army and shut down any unrest in Texas against his government. But it's going to take Santa Anna a couple of months to get his army together, to outfit them, to train them. And then he's got to march from north central Mexico into Mexican Texas. And so it's going to take him months. And he doesn't arrive in Texas until February of 1836. So what he does kind of as a down payment is he sends his brother-in-law, General Cos, and Cos, COS, and the Forget the Alamo book talks about Cos, and you can also see his name in my outline. So Santa Anna sends his brother-in-law into Texas to punish the Anglos for their attack on Anahuac. And what Cos does is he comes up into Texas and he captures San Antonio. He occupies San Antonio. So by late 1835, by the fall of 1835, you have a smallish Mexican army that has captured San Antonio, occupied San Antonio, and what this army is doing, it causes waiting for Santa Anna to bring up his army of about 5,000 men into Texas. But it's taking Santa Anna a long time to get his act together. So the first Mexican attack or offensive in Texas comes when General Cos and his brother-in-law comes up and occupies San Antonio in the summer and fall of 1835. Now, it's in this context that you have the come and take it incident. So a cannon had been lent to the settlers in Gonzales to help them fight attacks by indigenous groups. And General Cos ordered a small company of Mexican soldiers to go to Gonzales and to take the cannon back, the cannon that had been lent to the settlers in Gonzales. This all happens in October, I think, of 1835. So you have a small small company of Mexican soldiers goes to Gonzales, but the folks in Gonzales refuse to surrender the cannon that had been lent them. And very famously, a woman in Gonzales sews a flag. It's a very defiant flag. It's coming. She says, "Come and take it" on the flag. And interestingly, the "Come and take it" motto has morphed into a guns rights motto in 2023. If you see you probably have seen the bumper sticker, kind of a cannon. Underneath it, it says "Come and take it." Well, that refers to the failed attempt of this small group of Mexican soldiers to take these cannon back that had been lent to the people of Gonzales. But now it's become a rallying cry for guns rights advocates, and it's become kind of um, the guns rights advocates have taken the history of Gonzalez and are using it to their advantage. So anyway, next time you see the come and take it on a bumper sticker, they're all over the place. You'll know that's the story. And it's part of the larger context. And we're right on the eve of the Texas Revolution. So this company fails in their, they've been ordered to take back this cannon. The settlers in Gonzales refuse, and they go back to Gonzales and they have failed. So the first victory of the Texas Revolution goes to the revolutionaries, not the Mexican army, when they fail to secure the cannon that the Mexican army has lent to the settlers in Gonzales.